Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the roughest, toughest, and baddest iterations of the Big G. Number 20, Zilla, Godzilla. We know what you're about to say, to which we'll counter, we know, and that's why Zilla is at the bottom of this list.
We've lost Echo 1 and 2, sir.
Echo 4, where is target?
This star of the 1998 American Godzilla was so poorly received that Toho decided to make it canonically separate, complete with a new name. Still, we can at least admit that Zilla's comparatively diminutive stature makes it among the fastest alternate versions of Godzilla. The tiny baby Zillas that create havoc within the movie also make their parents a danger to New York City. Yet the fact that the rampage of Zilla is effectively kiboshed by some regular old military weapons speaks volumes to its lower-tier status. Number 19, DAM Godzilla, Destroy All Monsters. Our primary reason for including this specific Showa-era iteration of Godzilla is simple, really. It's all about that final mash when it comes to 1968's Destroy All Monsters. This battle brings together a plethora of Godzilla flick favorites, from Rodan and Mothra to Anguirus, Kumonga, and Varan the Unbelievable. The fact that Godzilla and his pals actually delivered a fatal blow to King Ghidorah didn't go unnoticed by Big G fans back in the day. Destroy All Monsters earned cult status as a result of this iconic ending, although it should be said that the Godzilla here doesn't do much else to stand out from the pack. Number 18, Godzilla Jr, Godzilla vs. Destoroyah. It took a couple of films for Godzilla Jr. to come into his own as a chip off the old block. It also took the total meltdown of his father in order for Godzilla Jr. to essentially take his old man's place. Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 3 from 1993 showcased a cute, diminutive little G that differentiated itself from the Manila of old. However, the climax of Godzilla vs. Destoroyah in 1995 sees the elder Godzilla's heart go into full nuclear meltdown. Father then passes along his essence to son, reviving Junior to essentially rise up to Heisei status. Unfortunately, Toho never gave Junior his own film to fully flesh out this new status, choosing instead to reboot the franchise with Godzilla 2000. Number 17, Space Godzilla, Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla. We're running a little fast and loose with regards to criteria here, meaning that Space Godzilla technically fits the bill due to its genetic makeup of Big G cells. The 1994 film Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla offers up a number of hypotheses with regards to how Space Godzilla absorbed his G cells in space. However, it doesn't really matter in the end whether Space Godzilla was the result of a Mothra flyby or Biolante's demise, because what we have is a big bad with energy manipulation powers and badass corona beams. He also poses a huge threat for both Godzilla and Moguera during their tussle. Number 16, Showa Godzilla, Godzilla. It's important to remember that although the Showa era of Godzilla was generally more of a kid-focused monster mash, the OG from 1954 was no joke. This Godzilla was dark, fearsome, and relentless, an analogy for nuclear war that was the farthest thing from the drop kicks and speech bubbles of the 1960s. His atomic breath attacks decimate Tokyo, with the population cowering in fear and running for their lives. This Showa Godzilla started it all, and captured the imagination of generations, and did so without fighting any other giant kaiju. Number 15, GMK Godzilla. Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, giant monsters all-out attack. Never underestimate the power of a cool look. We just love the white-out eyes utilized here in Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, giant monsters all-out attack. It lends this Godzilla a fearsome and frightful look honestly unlike any other of its brethren. This Big G also retains a nasty mean streak, both with regards to the human casualties and its kaiju victims. The sight of Baragon struggling to get away from Godzilla during their encounter never fails to tug at our heartstrings. Meanwhile, the GMK Godzilla's size, strength, and IDGAF attitude really places it among the toughest of the Millennium era. Number 14, Kiryu, aka Mechagodzilla 3, Godzilla Against Mechagodzilla, and Godzilla Tokyo SOS. The origins of Mechagodzilla tend to differ depending on which film one happens to be watching. The iterations constructed by aliens don't really fit our criteria. However, the story of Kiryu, who appears in both Godzilla Against Mechagodzilla and Godzilla Tokyo SOS, is a little different. This third Mechagodzilla was brought to life via genetic engineering and the bones of the original Showa Godzilla from 1954. This Mecha G gains sentience as a result of this origin story, essentially behaving and carrying on as the OG Godzilla. Kiryu is a tough customer, utilizing the Absolute Zero cannon in battle and assisting Mothra in bringing down the Millennium-era Godzilla. Number 13, Godzilla Ultima, Godzilla Singular Point. There are a number of similarities between how Shin Godzilla from 2016 slowly evolved into its final form, and this Godzilla Ultima from the anime titled Godzilla Singular Point. The Big G here stands over 300 feet tall and rips through just about anything with a vicious atomic breath attack. The comparative recency of Godzilla Singular Point means that it'll take time before the potential of this Big G reaches the heights of its predecessors. That said, the destruction caused by Godzilla Ultima more than makes its mark as a worthy modern iteration. Number 12, Venom Godzilla, Venom number 37. The folks over at Marvel love having the Venom symbiote merge with just about anyone and anything. This includes Godzilla, oddly enough, which honestly kind of sounds like overkill to us. The Big G was already tough enough, after all, while the symbiote's history of raw, unpredictable violence is well known by comic fans. The This crossover was a fun and well-drawn exercise in wish fulfillment that overpowered the Big G to a ludicrous degree. We also can't help but wonder if the MCU and Monsterverse will ever collaborate to bring such a strange and wonderful team-up to the silver screen.
Oh, Godzilla's responding!
Number 11, Heisei Godzilla, the Heisei era. The Heisei period was one that marked a period of substantial growth for the kaiju. While the movies certainly varied in tone, the uniting factor was a continued Monster of the Week trend. During this period, Godzilla was continually tested by other kaiju that pushed his battle skills and special abilities to the limit. He's also bigger and bulkier than average iterations of the character. And when pushed into a corner, this Godzilla possesses a take-no-prisoners approach to battle. The Heisei take on the kaiju feels like one that won't yield any opposition without one hell of a fight. This Godzilla truly earned the title of King of the Monsters. Number 10, Shin Godzilla. Shin Godzilla. This variant of the kaiju is certainly impressive, at least on the surface. It helps that this G-Man had the ability to evolve over time. As a result, it grew in size, stature, and power throughout the story. By the end of Shin Godzilla, the monster's atomic breath is awe-inspiring, and its destructive capabilities more than menacing. However, the fact that Shin Godzilla seems to require frequent rest periods makes him a little less intimidating than others. We also haven't seen this kaiju go up against any big beasts. While facing the Japanese self-defense forces is no walk in the park, we'd like to see this Shin Godzilla in more stories to see what it's really capable of. Number 9, Hanna-Barbera's version, Godzilla.
Godzilla, are we glad to see you?
We know what you guys may be thinking. How seriously can we possibly take a version of the kaiju that was created for kids in the late 70s? Well, before you discount him, allow us to give you his resume.
Godzilla can do anything!
This old-school and hand-drawn Godzilla had all the powers and strengths you'd expect from the character. What makes it more impressive was the fact that it was constantly forced to face off against towering enemies. These included the Magnetic Monster, which clocked in at over 400 feet tall. As a result, the Hanna-Barbera Godzilla has a time-tested mettle, as well as a stature that dwarfs the Showa and Millennium variants. In short, you shouldn't underestimate this kid-friendly kaiju.
That was pretty smart of Godzilla. He used salt water to short-circuit the Colossus.
Number 8, Millennium Godzilla, the Millennium series. While this iteration of the Big G may not be the biggest one ever seen, it definitely arrived armed with serious perks. Millennium Godzilla left behind the comical goofiness of the Showa movies and built more upon the strength showcased throughout the Heisei era of films. This version of the kaiju was smarter and more adaptable in combat. At times, it even utilized subterfuge to destroy its enemies. In films such as Godzilla 2000, the kaiju goads a monster into absorbing it. But when Godzilla gets in the right position, it blasts its foe away. It's pretty scary to face off against a version of kaiju with both tactical skills and divine destruction powers.
ゴジラは俺たちの中にいるんだ。
Number 7, minus Godzilla, Godzilla Minus One.
あの怪物の生態は未知のことが多すぎて。
This bulky version of the kaiju seems to cause pretty standard monster mayhem at first. It picks up trains with its teeth, devastates boats, and effortlessly levels cities. However, minus Godzilla has two distinctive features that make it especially dangerous. This version of the kaiju has incredible regenerative abilities. Even if you manage to find a weapon that can somehow injure it, this minus Godzilla is guaranteed to come back for another round. Its impressive healing is accompanied by its ability to fire an atomic blast that rivals nuclear bombs. Since it does take a fair amount of time to charge up, it might lag a little behind its speedier variants. But make no mistake, minus Godzilla won't hesitate to erase everything it sees. Number 6. Burning Godzilla. Godzilla vs. Destroyer.
Apparently, something is happening there. In the reactor. In Godzilla's heart.
Ahead of this landmark film, it was announced that the kaiju would meet his end. But few could have expected how his impending doom could have increased his power. During 1995's Godzilla vs. Destroyer, we meet Burning Godzilla. This version of the creature was dying due to the fact that a nuclear meltdown was happening within its own body. While this condition does prove fatal, he gains serious power too. Burning Godzilla has access to a spiral heat ray that is absolutely terrifying. He can also emit nuclear waves and regenerate from serious blows. Additionally, Burning Godzilla's actions are more frantic due to the fear and stress of his impending death. Its abilities and emotional turmoil make it one dangerous kaiju. Number 5. IDW Godzilla. IDW Comics. Like many other popular characters, this creature's origins and adventures have been expanded upon in other forms of media. The IDW comics built around Godzilla happened to construct a G-Man that had a seriously impressive resume. This iteration of Godzilla shakes the ground, ignores damage, and can defeat nearly any monster that comes his way. The IDW Comics Godzilla also possesses abilities like a nuclear pulse. On top of that, its fusion mode gives it powers and strength on par with Burning Godzilla itself. The fact that the IDW version can do what another variant can only do while dying is seriously badass. This Godzilla definitely rules the written page. Number 4. Marvel Comics Godzilla. Godzilla. The Marvel Comics iteration of the kaiju is another expanded universe take that's insanely powerful. How powerful, you may ask? Well, how about powerful enough to take on heavyweights like the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, and the Avengers?
Come and get me, you filthy lizard!
Marvel Godzilla is so overpowered that Mr. Fantastic shrinks the beast down and sends him through time to be safe. This Godzilla stares down superheroes like Thor and the Incredible Hulk without fear. To be fair, it seems as if nothing can overcome G's attack ability and defense.
Hurry up, lawman lady! Yeah! I am Vision!
Nothing, that is, except for a young man named Robert Takiguchi. He sends Godzilla away via, well, by just asking him nicely, believe it or not. It's good to see that this incredibly powerful kaiju respects politeness. Number 3. Legendary Godzilla, the MonsterVerse franchise.
Whatever Serizawa did to Godzilla worked a little too well, because he's about to explode like an atom bomb.
Roger that. Prepare for landing.
It had been a while since America had nearly ruined the reputation of an iconic character with a disastrous 1998 edition. Fortunately, the MonsterVerse version of Godzilla fixed the mistakes of the past and then some. This legendary variant is one of the largest and beefiest Godzillas in the character's history. His demeanor is also more animalistic and feral than usual in these films.
Jesus. Good thing he's on our side.
For now.
Godzilla's atomic breath, tremendous strength, and ability to supercharge with radiation helps him hunt. He's also bested multiple big bad kaijus. Most notably, he was able to conquer Kong in a one-on-one. Once we saw this Godzilla unseat a fellow royal, we knew we were dealing with a whole new beast. Number 2. Final Wars Godzilla. Godzilla Final Wars.
Listen, kid. There are two things you don't know about the Earth. One is me, and the other is Godzilla.
The world of professional wrestling has a term for when performers react to an opponent's maneuver as if it had no effect. This term is no selling, and the kaiju from Godzilla Final Wars is an expert at this sort of behavior. During the Final Wars film, literally everything except the kitchen sink is thrown at Godzilla without any effect.
Godzilla, the most destructive weapon on Earth.
Practically every foe from the past is set against the creature. However, Final Wars Godzilla is so sturdy and resilient that they all barely register as obstacles. Such is the sturdiness of this absolute beast. Opponents like Anguirus and King Caesar get tossed aside like trash. Even King Ghidorah and Gigan never feel like true threats to this ridiculously overpowered and seemingly unstoppable Godzilla.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. Godzilla Earth. Godzilla Planet of Monsters Trilogy.
人間も怪獣も区別なく全てを焼き尽くす破壊の化身。
東部時間2時30分に実行されたゴジラへの大規模熱核攻撃は失敗に終わりました。本日午前0時を。
Here's a question. What happens when a monster is too resilient, aggressive, and unpredictable to touch? If you're humanity in this series, you abandon your home planet completely and leave it all to Godzilla Earth. This godlike being is overpowered to the nth degree. Furthermore, he only continues to evolve after the planet is abandoned.
この世界の法則が一切通用しない。
The monster's famous atomic breath turns into a beam capable of intergalactic destruction. Godzilla's size also reaches over 1,000 feet. And when it comes to his appetite for destruction, he's always hungry. Godzilla Earth is a creature that rightfully fears nothing. Even the most powerful of monsters and weapons feel inadequate. As a result, he's firmly established himself as an apex Godzilla. Can anything take down Godzilla? Let us know what you think in the comments.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.